Hello, loves. Welcome to another client spotlight with me, Rosalind Fung, Akashic Visibility Business Coach. And I have here one of my former soulmate clients, Shannon Cormier. Welcome, Shannon. I want to
Hello.
introduce Shannon to all of you because you might see yourself in her as you're going if you're as you're watching and listening to this client spotlight. So Shannon is a self-proclaimed misfit. Like, look at her glasses, yes. That is passionately dedicated to questioning outdated mindsets and status quo that keep people locked into patterns and cycles that no longer serve them. As CEO and founder of Empowered Living, Shannon is on a mission to increase rates overall wellness by offering different opportunities that creatively hold space, guide, and fuel people's wholeness and well-being in order to flourish and thrive, not just merely survive. So thank you so much, Shannon, for being here. I love having these client spotlights. They're short and sweet and to the point because as my audience is watching this, you might see yourself in Shannon in her before picture, before we work together. You know, she's going to share a little bit about what her mindset was like then and what she works through and what her takeaways were in us working together and where she's at now. So, Shannon, tell me a little bit about what support were you seeking before we worked together? What were some of
Well,
those
when
things?
I yeah, when I had originally reached out to you, I was at a place where I had left my executive leadership position with no plan other than I knew that I had to step away and really look after myself in every way. And I had been off from that from that employment for a few months, and I was at a place where I was like, okay, I need to start figuring out what I want to do, and I knew that starting a business was something that I did want to do, but I just didn't know where to start. And so when I got a referral from you, or for you, from Cindy Crow, actually another client of yours, when I reached out, because I knew the one thing that drew me to you, because I have my background's in mental health. I've been a counselor for well over 25 years. So I knew I needed somebody that could see through my BS and my small plans,
And
right?
with my background as a former psychologist.
Exactly. So that was one of my key things, is like I need somebody to be able to recognize when I'm dodging
Yeah.
and be able to really kind of, get through all of that and just help me get to the root to all those blind spots that I had. So that was one of the things that really attracted me to you, was your background in, as a former psychologist. The other piece that was really critical for me was the spiritual component. I am a workaholic. Uh, I also really identified with my value being linked to my doingness and not my beingness. So that was another thing that really sort of resonated for me with with the research and the stalking that I did for you before like actually reaching out. I'll be honest. We all do it. Let's admit it.
Well, and I appreciate that because I think you're doing your due diligence to make
Yeah,
sure this like that working together would be super aligned and you seeing my pain to purpose. I also
right.
have that pain as a former workaholic, right? And
Yeah,
value in doing this over beingness to now my purpose is we're really prioritizing the beingness over the
yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so those are the key things that really kind of resonated for me, that made me reach out to you, was the fact that I knew I had somebody that could see through my BS, that could really help me get to the root causes that I needed to get to, and also identify and recognize that workaholic tendency and help me sort of work through that piece from a spiritual approach, opposed to the psychological and masculine kind of understanding of it. I needed to get past my own thinking.
Yeah.
Having been a counselor for so long, I am an absolute self-reflective counselor. And so I've done a lot of work
Yeah.
on myself up until now. And I appreciate all the folks that I've had up until now. But when I started working with you, it was a whole new level
Mm,
around, because it brought that intellectual, spiritual, psychological, everything. It really up leveled the work that I had already done, to so that I could get to the next level, and
beautiful.
understanding what I needed to do, and what I wanted to do with clarity and focus and purpose, and a real empowered sense of, what I wanted to do.
Absolutely. And can we talk a little bit about like, I remember when you first came in, there was hiding happening.
Oh,
Can
oh
we
yeah,
talk about that? Because these glasses, my loves, are a tangible result. This was not Shannon before
yeah.
we worked together. Like,
No, not at all. Not at all. I've always been, the backstage leader, never really stepping out in front of the stage, center stage, main stage. I've always kind of been the one in the back, which is fantastic and super important. But it was also becoming a limiting factor for me in terms of really stepping into my business and taking that to a whole new level. And so it was during one of the Akashic readings, actually, where
yes.
I didn't even realize, again, it's those blind spots, right? Even with all the work that we do on ourselves, we're still going to have these blind spots. And the Akashic record reading on that particular day brought me back to an incident when I was like 4 years old. And I was wearing, I remember clearly now that I didn't remember before, I was wearing this red, super shiny raincoat, and something happened, and I was told, don't be bold,
Mm-hmm.
because you're going to make everybody feel uncomfortable. And so as a little 4-year-old, I internalized that message of don't be bold. Still do what you got to do and do what you want to do, but just don't be bold about it. And so that got internalized into my sort of messaging system, and impacted the choices that I made and how I showed up for myself. And so, and so once I realized that, Roz walked me through this whole process of, holy man, like where else is this showing up for me? Where else am I, resonating this inner message? And how can I disrupt it, and pull it, root, trunk, and seed, and replant what it is I want to replant now
Beautiful.
with my adult mind. And so one of the homework assignments was to start wearing red again,
Yeah, because at
because
that
in
point,
my
I
mind
think
I
you
had
were,
associated it.
yeah, because at
Yeah,
that point, you were not only hiding, but it was like physically you were hiding too.
physically,
Yeah.
yeah, like it really manifested in so many different ways, right? And so yeah, so over a course of a little bit, I started doing the homework, and then one day I needed a new pair of glasses. I was like, those are the ones. Those are the ones. No more hiding. Yeah,
I love them so much. You inspired me to go get glasses, and I was looking for
right.
glasses too. Love it. Shelly,
Yeah.
let's talk about, so once we were like on the discovery call, what were some considerations, some obstacles that came up for you that you really had to work through?
So again, I'll just reiterate that at this point I hadn't been working and I didn't have an income,
Mm,
for quite some time at that point. That I called it my radical sabbatical. It was self-funded. I stepped away, didn't have a job, didn't have income. I drew on, personal savings and retirement, stuff that I had put away for retirement. And so that was my biggest obstacle. Like I knew I had oh hell yes, I do want to work with Rosalind. But then I had this fear, scarcity voice happening in my other side of the head, saying, oh no, you don't have any money. Like you don't, what are you doing? And so it was this back and forth, right? Where the logical mind was trying to convince me that no, this isn't something that's worthwhile. But digging into that, it was more, again, another blind spot. It had more to do with that self-worth and self-value, right?
Mhm.
And so I just took a deep breath and convinced myself that I'm doing this because that hell yes was louder than the, oh no, we can't do this, right? Who are we to be investing this money when we have no job? And so at that point, I knew enough for myself that okay, there's something else going on under the water here, and Roz is going to help me figure out what that is.
I
Because if
love
it's going to hold me back for this, it's going to hold me back for everything I try and do moving forward. And that was part of the whole reason and for taking that radical sabbatical was to invest in myself, invest in my, my potential and all of those things, right? And so needing to face head on those obstacles that were coming up against me.
Yeah, you
And
went
so,
full all in, and you even went in with my business partners for Flourishing Life Coach to get
yeah.
certified in all the different certifications that they offer. So that was just so incredible. I love seeing you go all in on yourself.
Mhm.
Congratulations. Let's celebrate you in terms of your takeaways, your results. Like you had some pretty epic results in terms of, getting out of your own way. And then who did you become, Shannon? Let's talk about that.
Well, it's so hard to like summarize because it's like it's like it was absolutely an inner journey. It was an
Yeah.
absolutely an inner transformation. Hence, part of the reason my business is called Empowered Living, right? I
Yes.
was living by default. I was following, I was following a path. I was very successful in what I was doing. I've had lots of accomplishments, lots of, a really great career, a really great life. By all intents and purposes, I was successful and doing really well, but
Mhm.
I had this inner gap where I knew that, it's not all I need to be doing. And so part of the takeaway of working with you was helping me dig into that piece
Yeah.
and really understanding that life by default isn't what I was wanting to be living. I wanted to literally empower myself, like power myself from the inside out. And what does that
Absolutely.
mean, right? And I mean, I could have done it by myself, probably. Would have taken longer, would have been a whole lot more painful, a whole lot less fun. Even though I cried a lot, we laughed a lot, I did an immense amount of healing, um, and I've just been able to gain a sense of clarity and a whole leaps and bounds leveling up from where I was.
Absolutely. And
And when I say leveling up, I mean I mean inner confidence, inner clarity, um, and it's not just me that feels it. I notice that other people
Mm.
mention it when I see them for the first time. They'll say, "Oh my goodness, like what have you done? You look so different." And I'm like, I'm saying, but it's that inner vibe, right? That's just kind
That's
of
right. Well, the real Shannon
it's
stand up.
grown.
It's so
It's grown.
beautiful because as
Yeah.
I watched you, and really, I mean, that's the kind of coach I am. It's not just strategy and business, but as I watch you transform, I'm that kind of client for myself as well. I'm crying, I'm like celebrating, I'm transforming. And so it's like a business journey is always a personal and spiritual journey. And so
Absolutely.
how beautiful to have you, really see that would be a witness for me, be a witness to your transformation. And then the tangibles in the businesses that you have literally launched, or yeah, your business was existing but it was kind of like on the back burner. I remember that. So you
Well,
actually
it was hiding like I was,
hiding,
right?
right? And then you launched and you put out a leadership program for leaders, and
Yeah,
that was powerful in the rural area, which is so needed. Like I thought that's a
yeah.
cool niche. And you hit your 10K months. Like this is so incredible. Like the as soon as you start to show up for yourself,
Mhm.
for the world, and get more visible, and then
Yeah,
you start to attract clients, and then you got creative about how to do that too. Like I just was blown away by how you were doing that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was help. And that, again, through your guidance, I was able to um, sort of read through, what they should, what,
Mhm.
you should be doing as a business person. And it's like, that doesn't fit good with me.
Yeah.
So you're able to help me sort of figure out what's the right fit, right?
Yes.
And that's what another one of the things that I really appreciate about you, Rosalind, is that you're like, okay, well, this is one strategy, but what's going to work for you, right? There's no one answer.
Mhm.
Um, there's
Mhm.
no one answer.
Yeah,
It
there's no
really
cookie
is
cutter.
about it really is about the beingness of
Yes.
what we do. It's not about necessarily the doing. I mean, we still have to do the work, but it really is, who do I want to be when I show up, right?
Mhm.
Who do I want to be in this business? Who do I want my business, or what do I want my business to be and represent? And then start doing from that, right?
Absolutely. And attracting who, right? Who's our niche? Who are our
Exactly.
ideal clients? And
Yeah.
it's beautiful to see you move through that. And so, anything else you want to share in terms of experience takeaways?
If anybody is sort of on the fence, contemplating whether to invest or not invest, walk alongside you, or just not sure, I would say jump,
Mm,
because it absolutely has been life changing, game changing, and business changing for me. And I absolutely make lots of referrals to you constantly,
thank you,
um,
Shannon.
because it really has, the experience I've had with you, because we worked independently together, and
Yes,
then
you
I
are.
also joined the business group, right?
Yes.
And both were exponentially beyond my expectations, and I have a high expectation. So
Of course you do.
um, absolutely, especially with the counseling background, I'm like, is she gonna do it? Well, you blew my mind time and time again. So absolutely highly recommend working with you.
Thank you, Shannon. I so
Yeah,
appreciate you. And I just am so honored to be part of your journey. And like Shannon said, if you're feeling called to explore working together, please do send me a message and let's chat. Let's chat.
yeah,
Thank you so much,
do
Shannon.
it.